Finally getting some color on this boat. Seems like it's been laying upside down for about 2 months now, because honestly it has been. Just had a lot going on. We had to prime it, we had to finish the bottom, we had to sand it, we had to sand it, we had to sand it again, we had to prime it some, we had to sand it again, and fill in a bunch of pinholes. You know, all the things you gotta do before you paint a boat, because it is very true that prep is 90% of the work. So, it's not perfect. There's still a couple little flaws, especially right along the keel, I'll admit it. I know there are, but it's gonna get dragged on a sandbar pretty soon, so I'm not gonna spend the next 6 months just making every single thing perfect. Be my guest if you want to. Nothing wrong with that one bit, but you know, eventually you gotta find the happy medium, you know, what's good enough. So today though, we're gonna use the Alexseal paint system. This is actually the same gallon of paint that we used on the Sea Hunter project last year. Been in the fridge, sealed up tight. My shop fridge, I keep it about 50 degrees so that I can keep stuff in there and that doesn't freeze anything. This thing's for keeping beer cold. Hey, you know, you can keep materials in there for quite a while if you keep the temperature turned way up and keep it sealed. So anyways, we're gonna start this up. Got a paddle mixer, converter, reducer, and the rolling additive. Got everything we need to get this thing shiny. So stay tuned, let's go. All right, come on around to this side. If you've never seen the system, it's your normal 2-part epoxy-based paint system. The base, converter, and reducer. The Alexseal has a rolling additive as well, and you add that in about 10 cc's per quart. Mix that in, and that will help all the bubbles and stuff pop off before it tacks over and skins over and leaves a really nice finish without need of tipping. So you do all this with just a roller. Did it before last year on the Sea Hunter and came out phenomenal, holding up very well. Put that boat through some stuff already in the last year, 9 months, 6 months, whatever it's been. But anyways, very impressed with the paint system so far is what I'm trying to say. So popped it open this morning just to take a look, and it's still paint, so that's good. So definitely needs to be mixed up a little bit. So when I bought a paddle mixer here, so let's set that there for now. And yeah, you can also see I did not use that much. I really thought I was gonna need a lot more than this for that 24-foot boat, but we went through about 1/3 of this gallon at max. So if you're ever looking for, you know, how much Alexseal paint do I need for my project? I did a 24-foot boat with less than 2 quarts paint, and that was with 3 coats. That's what we're gonna do again today. We're doing 2 coats with about a 4 to 6 hour time frame between the first 2 coats. So the plan's gonna be coat 1, give it about 6 hours, overcoat directly with coat number 2, give it 24 hours, let it, you know, cure off enough that it's hard, sand it with some 400 grit, give it a good scrubbing again, and then put the 3rd and final coat on. All right, a couple little footnotes before we get going. This is just a guide. Try to give you guys some concise information, what I'm doing to make this work, but please refer to the technical data sheets, the TDS of the manufacturer before you do this. You always want to make sure you're doing everything right, especially with this stuff. It's not cheap. You're probably gonna have $1,000 in, you know, materials, and last thing you want to do is have it not work because you didn't follow the instructions. So this needs a 15-minute induction period after your first mix. So you're gonna do 4 rolling. Again, this is from the TDS from Alexseal. You're gonna do 2 parts paint, 1 part converter when you're rolling. So I like to keep separate cups for each one. The reducer, we don't need yet. Put that over there. 2 parts paint, 1 part converter. Put some gloves on. Okay, so paint, and then we're gonna go with 5 ounces of the converter. And then we're gonna put both of these into a separate cup. And this way we have our paint cup and we have our converter cup. Leave those upside down on a rag and then we can reuse them. Give this a good stir. So this is the A5018 Top Coat 501 Roll Additive. I'm not going to tell you what it is because this stuff's expensive, and I know this is part of their profit margin, but it's xylene and naphtha. Okay, says 1 cap full or 10 milliliters per quart, approximately half a quart. I'm gonna go with half a cap full. Mix that up good. And then when you think it's mixed up well, mix it up a little more, doesn't hurt. Okay. Converter, top coat, and rolling additive are mixed. Now they get to have a 15-minute induction period. So cover that to keep the dust out of it. Pop these off for now. Save them because they're still clean and they're not free. Go ahead and wipe off my little mixer here. Try and save that as well. Picked this tip up from Joe Buskins, Fish Bump TV. I'm sure you've seen him. If you haven't, great channel. Go check it out. I learned a lot from that guy. A little jar or a bucket of acetone. Reuse it a million times. Cover that, cover that. Time check. In 15 minutes, go ahead and mix in the reducer. Strain it, start rolling. All right, let's talk about this side of the table for a minute while we're waiting for that to do its induction period. I got some tray liners here. I always keep them stacked up, so right before we go to strain this, I kind of flip them, use the one that's covered, so this will catch any dust. Using the Red Tree mohair rollers, you get 10 packs, you can get them on Amazon or most paint shops, marine stores. Good things, I like these. And again, put a little painter's tape on it, wrap them up, and that way, before you go, you can unroll them. It catches any little stickies on there. These are pretty lint-free, they're pretty good. So I haven't had any issues with that. Another little tip I found too is if you get paint or resin, anything on these, take a piece of sandpaper, wrap it around there, give it a little twirl, and it will clean it up. And then these will free spin. Let's put that one in your pocket for later. Solvent wipe the boat if you haven't already. Lots of different techniques for that, but just make sure it's clean. With this one, it came in after I was done sanding with the primer. Sprayed it off with the hose, took a green Scotch-Brite pad and just kind of wiped it, gently to get all the heavy dirt off and sanding dust, primer dust. Let that dry. Came back and taken some solvent and some clean rags, and I've wiped it down 3 or 4 times. So make sure we got a good substrate. I also spent about an hour this morning cleaning the shop. The leaf blower, big fans going, everything, trying to just get all this mess out of here, all the dust, all the loose stuff. Cleaned up really well around the boat. Anything that, is gonna just stir some dust up, I don't want it. People say you can take a hose and you can spray around the area, especially if you're doing this outside and it's dusty. Spray the ground all around the boat. That works really well. And see what else. we're about ready to go. All right, see, any other housekeeping tips before we get started? Boats on the ground, obviously. Not going all the way down to the bottom of the rub rail because there's gonna be a rub rail there. But I did put painter's tape all along the ground, as you can see. And this is to keep the roller from hitting the ground and picking up dust and painting my shop floor. So just make sure you have room, you know, clear out your spot, make a nice area for you to work in. Don't want to be working around here with 50 bucks worth of paint in a cup and trip over something and fall backwards and dump it all over yourself. That doesn't do anybody any good. Fans are going. We have a pretty stout south breeze here. It's blowing pretty good. That fan's sucking air in, that fan's blowing air out. Respirators are never a bad idea. I'm not gonna tell you not to put one on because you probably should. Got comments on my last video that I probably should. Yes, I should. If I was spraying this, I 100% would have one on. All right, we are approaching that 15-minute mark. Okay, we got our converter cup, we got our paint cup, we got a reducer cup. 10 ounces of paint, 5 ounces of converter, 5 ounces of reducer. Whoop. We're right at 20 ounces of paint total. Put my reducer cup in front of the reducer so I know which one is which there. Make sure there's nothing on that. Gently stir this up. Come around while it's doing that. All right, I've been stirring that for 2 or 3 minutes now, so it is good and stirred. Swap my trays, make sure that one's good and clean, nothing in it. Same thing with the filters. 2 filters out of this package, and use the second one. Cheap insurance, keep dust out of things. I'm gonna strain about half of it in, leave the other half covered. All right, bring this trash can real quick. Clean rag on top of there. So that should be okay for a little bit. Steak, go over there. We'll get a new one of those next time. Roller's still clean. Ready to go. All right, that fan's blowing right on my back, so we'll see how good this little fuzzy is on this microphone here. Go ahead and load up the roller. We'll start right here on the transom, again, where the motor's gonna be. So if I screw it up real bad, doesn't matter. It's gonna be a jack plate on there. Okay, here we go. First couple are just gonna be kind of getting it going, getting all the paint evened out on this roller here. Just gonna work your way down it on about, start doing about a 50% overlap. I'll come back over it and even it all out. And then do that for the next hour. I'm gonna kind of get into a little groove here, get a feel for it, and work my way down the boat a little bit, and I'll jump back onto the camera. All right, started to get my groove in here a little bit. So, a little demo how I'm doing this. Load up your roller. I'm gonna start about a roller length away from where you ended, and kind of work your way back to that line. At this point, you're putting down a lot of material, so you want to keep moving it out, spreading this material down a little bit. And you'll probably get 2 or 3 solid passes at least until you see that it's starting to leave little blotches like that. Try and get one more just to get most of the paint off the roller. Not pushing hard at all. I am just kind of letting it float over there. But now that most of the paint is off, you go back to where you started and you're gonna see probably some drips or some lines, or you're gonna see a hard edge. That's what you wanna blend in. And then you just wanna overlap 50% over each one of those lines. And that's gonna kind of even out the paints, picking up some of the old paint, putting it back down where it needs to be. And to keep it kind of nice and even. And really, that's all you're looking for, even. Doesn't matter. It says 2 to 3 mils per coat. Doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3. You just want it to be 2 across the board or 3 across the board. You don't want 1 mil somewhere and 3 mils somewhere and 2 mils somewhere with the same amount of paint. And you're just gonna have to go a few rolls down and see, kind of how it's laying out. It's gonna depend on how much reducer you have in there. It's gonna depend on what roller covers you're using, all of those things. Final thing you wanna do is go back past where you started just a little bit, and then very lightly, like you can see 2 fingers here, I'm just pulling the roller down. This is just gonna kind of pop any of the bubbles, knock any last little bits off of there. Very light pressure here. And it's gonna look a little orange peely as at first, as you roll over it, it's gonna haze over. You're gonna be like, ah, crap. But you give this stuff about a minute and it's gonna do its magic. Everything's gonna just kind of flatten out. And then the only thing you gotta worry about is those damn little bugs that are starting to land on it already. All right, making some good headway here on coat number 1, obviously. I'm gonna turn this fan down just a touch. Keep it on, but I wanna try and make sure it's not pointing directly at me, so hopefully I don't get any wind noise. But, a couple observations. You'll definitely get your groove, after, a half hour or so. You'll start to get a feel for it. It's all gonna be a little different each job you do. It's all gonna depend on the humidity, the temperature, the amount of reducer, how long it's been sitting out, things like that. You're definitely gonna notice that as you go farther down the boat, you're gonna have less and less reducer. It definitely evaporates right out. So it's gonna be very runny at first, and it's gonna settle down, tighten up a little bit as you go. This I can't stress enough. The absolute key to all of this is keep it even. That's all you do, keep it even. Do the same thing, try and get the same coverage, maybe, because, okay, up at the bow, it's gonna be, you're gonna get 5 rolls versus back here where it's wider, you're only gonna get 3, but about the same amount of square footage for each time. Keep the roller straight, What you don't want to do is if you're leaving marks like that, you got your roller tilted. If you get too much paint in there and you get like paint up inside the roller and it's leaving a line, that's bad news. That's gonna leave, you're gonna see that from a mile away. So you wanna keep it even. You wanna keep your roller even, your pressure even, the amount of paint you're putting down in each spot even. And it's not, gosh, you can't even say, oh, push down exactly this hard, because it's gonna vary a little bit based on, you know, the paint consistency and how much is coming off. You push too hard and it's gonna like push you'll see like a big roll in front of it. You're gonna see like a big wave of paint in front of it. And if you push that down to the edge here, you're getting a major drip right off the side. Next thing, don't leave any hard lines. I don't know if it's gonna focus on that, but you can see one. I'll try and zoom in on it here. You can see one going right down here, where was the edge of the roller. That's gonna dry like that, and it's gonna look terrible. So I do a lot of looking down the boat as I'm going. If you see anything, back up just past it. Nice even roll all the way down, and you wanna flatten that out. Do not wanna leave any hard lines anywhere. And I know I totally screwed up my rhythm here by filming some of this. I mean, I was doing so well all the way down the boat. But, you know, that's how I got it like that. You gotta pause sometimes. If I'm gonna take the time to make this video, I'm gonna take the time to show you guys what I'm actually doing, because sometimes it looks really easy until you start doing it, and then you're like, why do I have all these lines in here? Right there, that's one of those lines is actually starting to skin over just a little bit, so I gotta kind of rough it up. Be a little more rough on there, and then I'm gonna have to go back over lightly so I don't end up with lines anymore. And that brings me to the next point. Do what you're gonna do to it, and then leave it alone. Do not be your own worst enemy. You can easily overwork this. If I were to go back up by the bow and try to fix something right now, no way. It's starting to skin over a little bit. It's hot. The solvent is evaporating out of it. I have the fans blowing on it. A lot of air movement in here. And it's gonna pick it up. It's gonna mess it up. It's gonna break into it. It's not gonna be good. So, do not overwork it. So that's why as you're going, you're gonna stop a lot, look down it, see if you see any streaks or any, you know, spots you messed up. Because now is the time to fix them, not in an hour. Also give yourself time to do the job. This first coat probably took, I'd say an hour. You know, if you don't have the time, don't do it. Make time for it. I'll have today to get coat 1, hopefully coat 2 on, and I can let it cure, and when I get time next week, I can sand it and get it opened up and ready for coat 3. Okay, but overall, I don't think coat 1 was too bad. Still got to finish the hull sides, but we're getting there. First coat is on. Let's do a little first coat feedback. First off, mixed up 20 ounces of paint. Used 19.99. So, 17.5 foot flats boat doing the bottom and the hull sides takes 20 ounces of paint per coat. Second, I can't stress it enough, just consistency, evenness. That's what you gotta focus on. Same amount of paint, every line, same amount of pressure on the roller, every line, and don't overwork it. Get out of your own way, which is what I'm gonna do now. So, leave you with a little B-roll walk around here of what it looks like at the end of the first day, and we'll touch base tomorrow. Back out in the shop after a few days, been tied up with some stuff, but no real worries. Did come out the day after, the morning after, and put the second coat of paint down. The exact same process as the first one, so I didn't record any of it. Also took me a lot less time without recording it, but we get through it. Today, I did the 400 grit sanding. Got the DA out. Gonna crank up the air compressor, make a little noise, blow a little dust. I will put a mask on for this one. So, starting with 400 grit, I'm gonna do all the flat surfaces with the DA and then go back over the edges and the corners and stuff by hand. So I don't wanna burn through any of those. Just getting some of the orange peel off. Second coat did leave a little more orange peel on it. Of course, expected that. It's about twice as bad as it was after the first coat. Remy's barking at the trees, so I guess that means that it's time to go. All right, I will see if I can demo just enough of this before the compressor kicks on and I turn all the fans on and it's just noisy as can be in here. But like I said, just doing the flat areas here. You can see there's a good amount of orange peel on here, which is expected when you're rolling the paint on. So all I'm gonna do is just try and get that leveled out just a little bit. So blow that fly off of there so I don't just grind him into it. Basically, just gonna keep it as light as I can. We'll come in here and get a closer look at that. You can see how it's just basically taking that peel off, and once it all gets to one level, consistent color, all that little orange peel, all those little, bumps and humps and ridges are sanded out. Then we'll blow it all off, give it another good solvent wipe, and we'll be ready for the final coat. Hopefully we don't burn through any of it. So time lapse a little of it, but it's gonna be probably a couple hours of just going back and forth like that. So not gonna bore you all to death with filming the entire sequence. All right, the heavy stuff is done with the machine. I'm gonna switch over to a little block, some 320, and knock out the rest. You can do this wet sanding if you like. I actually prefer to do it dry with this paint. I'll show you here. So with these little bits of orange peel, you can just go over it a few times. And for the most part, you can see the difference there. It's, pretty much knocks it out. If you spray it with water first, it'll seem to go a little faster, a little smoother, but it all kind of blends together. You can't see really when you're done getting the orange peel out. It's very easy to burn off too much paint, which you don't want to do, or even worse, burn through down to the primer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it dry. Turn the radio on, turn the fans back on, and give it an hour, and should have it most of the way done. Okay, I think that's gonna call it for the night. Brought the hose in, obviously, sprayed all the dust off of it, the big heavy stuff. I'm not coming back out tomorrow morning. Probably won't be till tomorrow evening I get back out here. And hopefully then I can get the third coat and final coat on. So everything should be good and dry. Be ready for a few solvent wipes. And we're close. All right, it is the next afternoon. I have about 22 ounces of paint doing its little induction period. So we'll try and knock this out, this third coat. Boat is cleaned, it's been solvent wiped. We're gonna try and get this done without rushing it too much. Okay, I think we're as good as we're gonna get. Got some tape here on the roller, pull some of these fuzzies off. Got a few of them that time, so that's good. Have a clean strainer. Try and get this coat on heavy enough without getting any runs. So, cover this back up, keep the solvent in there. And here we go. Got the big fans going up there as well, so there's lots of airflow in here right now in the shop. Actually, that breeze on my back feels really nice, and I cannot smell this paint at all, which is even better. But yeah, this bow is a little tricky. You kind of have to curve it up there that first time, right here on these parts. Went on a little heavy to start, that's okay, it's pretty reduced. And then I'm gonna go on this edge too. I know I'm not starting on that side, but I wanna make sure and not leave any hard lines over here, because by the time I get back around to this side of the boat, this is gonna be skinned over and you're gonna see a line up there. You don't wanna deal with that. All right, work our way down. Okay, show you this real quick too. See what it looks like when it first goes on. It's definitely not beautiful, but you have to trust it, get out of the way, and let that rolling additive and that thinner do its job, and it will lay out. But for the sake of time, I'm gonna time lapse some of this, get to it so I can get this done. Do a quick walk around here. Overall, I'm pretty happy. I think there's a little bit to be happy about, so I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna show you one thing that I screwed up though, because I can show you guys that. So I had a spot on the bottom. See if I can get to highlight it all. I'm sure I can. Can't see it on this little screen too much, but maybe in a bigger screen I'll be able to highlight it. Anyways, there's a line like right there and right there. So what I did was I had a little bit of a dry spot. I went back over it, tried to add a little more, and of course right in the middle where the dry spot was, it's fine now. But now I have a dry spot on each side where I was smoothing it out, so whatever, it's bottom of the boat. Not gonna cry about it. For something that I sanded with a DA. Didn't put a longboard anywhere close to this boat. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this to bed for the night and come back, take a peek in the morning once it's cured. And just for funsies, because I didn't want it to go to waste. Probably the only one with an Alexseal picnic table. All right, it's the next day. Paint is dry, and I think it's safe to say this was a successful paint job. I gotta say, I like this stuff. For a roll-on paint, I mean, to be able to do this in 2 days, that'll work. I'm happy with it. So, anyways, what's next? What's next? We gotta get this thing back right side up, so I'm gonna flip it back over. Hopefully I don't have the hiccup that I had in the first time. But, you know, that's the reality of it, right? So get it flipped back over and fix the cap and clean up the console, get that put back in, and then I get to figure out what I'm doing on the inside. Still debating between gel coat and paint. Thinking I might go paint. You know, throw me some ideas if you have any thoughts on the interior paint. I'm thinking, you know, more of like a kind of a two-tone. I don't know. We'll figure something out. So. Actually, I don't know why I'm asking, because it's taken me like a month and a half to get all these videos edited and pushed out. So it's probably going to be done by the time you see this. So, you know, comment anyways, like, share, subscribe, all the things. I appreciate it. And I appreciate every single one of you, like I like to say. And hey, we're almost done with this one. So let's wrap it up. All right, guys, we'll talk soon.